Hey, Storytelling Ron. So I want to talk about this Dracula 2020, the BBC Netflix. It's on Netflix, and I watched the three-part series. Legend gets some fresh blood. So I want to talk about this. Let me just cut to the chase. It's an entire production taking the Bram Stoker's Dracula, and the entire purpose of this production of this film or the series is to get rid of Jesus Christ. Just to cut to the chase. That's the whole point of this whole series, and I want to go through that right now in an annoying, laborious way as a Christian. So Legend gets some fresh blood. The creators, and this guy did a great performance. I was enthralled by him. Enthralled. I became a thrall or whatever. I really enjoyed his performance, and that's what kind of got me into it. Was him and this here. This is the Harker. They changed the story, obviously. He's in a convent in Budapest, 1897. Is how it starts off, and then she interviews him to what happened to you, and it goes through, and then they of course do all these flashbacks or whatever to his going, the original Bram Stoker story. I read it a long time ago. I need to reread it. But she did a great job too. I loved her performance as Sister Agatha or whatever, and then the Dracula guy, and so that was what really got me into it. Because a nun. I really was like, wow, I want to see a convent and nuns and what and how they interact with stuff, and her she was sort of lost her faith, sort of atheist, living peacefully in a nunnage. So her wit and catty sort of responses to the Harker during the interview was I really enjoyed that, because I've read about nuns who they're characters, serious characters, and we don't portray them like that in the films anymore. All we portray them as is evil and with a ruler and stuff, but they're catty, they're humorous, they've got a fresh look on life, a better look on life than most people, a peaceful approach to it all. And I was like drawn in, hoping for that, right? And I would love to see a film about with nuns fighting like that, and the sort of the way that I've read about them and have conversed with a few, rarely, but boy, I definitely, next time I see a nun, I'm definitely gonna just start talking to a nun. I really want to just engage with a nun, just humorously, Christian faith wise. I mean, I'm Protestant-y, but I sort of have a joy for the Catholic thing, in a sense. But anyway, so drawn into this, really intriguing. And it's funny, is all the reviews of it I've read, of the comments and on IMDb, the first two episodes were great, third one sucked. Everyone was like, that was all in agreement, and I'm going to go over that. So in the first episodes, it's based in 1890s, and I'm just going to spoil, I don't care, spoiler. The third episode, basically the Demeter, the ship that goes to England, well, it crashes, and so the coffin sinks to the bottom of the ocean. And in the third episode, it doesn't open up until modern day. Like, he gets stuck under the water for 123 years or whatever, and they find it in modern day, and they have like this sort of Men in Black agency run by actually, this is the wife of Harker who started an agency to hunt vampires. So it became more of like this X-Files Men in Black thing, where they bring him out. It actually was kind of humorous. I liked him like, wow, modern day, 123 years. But everyone hated it because it was so like, like a CW show, or like a modern sort of they all say it was like Lucifer, like, which I didn't watch that series, but it was like this modern sort of devil in, amazed at this modern world and whatever. But then in the ending, let me just go to the ending right now. So she loses her faith, and she's trying to figure out why Dracula is evil, the devil, and all that. And there's all these gory scenes and him killing people. And what I noticed too, about when they take out Christianity from these horror films and Dracula, they become sadistic. They become Gladiator. So the entire show was about how he was going to kill everyone, especially when the second episode is he's on the Demeter. So that's the entire set. And so the whole thing is like him killing everyone. And I'm like, wow, that's, this is definitely not a Christian film. This is a pagan film. He's going around killing everyone. It's very bloodlusty. And the entertainment is all about the killing. I noticed that today in modern films, we really we consider killing people entertaining. That's what Gladiators was all about too, and paganism, and obviously that's what's has taken over the entertainment industry. Christians have sort of stepped back, or kind of, we've hidden ourselves, and I'm sort of disappointed in that, because you can tell that paganism has taken over the entertainment industry, and it's all sexualized, and it's all about the sadism of entertainment, of gladiator entertainment. And this is kind of no different, because in the story and in the Christian stories, killing is there, but it's horrifying, it's terrible, it's exactly what it should be: horrifying. You reject it, you hope that it'll end soon. The goal is to confront that and stop that from happening, and overcome it. Whereas in this one, it just was like carrying on and on in very sort of devilish ways. So her character, then she has a reincarnation as the modern day agent, bloodline of Van Helsing. She's kind of a sister Agatha Van Helsing thing, whatever. But let me just go through this real quick. So this entire production, look at this. I just want to show you the making of, right? The entire thing about this, all these people, see, they're constructing this huge Demeter for the second episode. In the first episode, they made the castle. There's all these people working on this, building this set, hundreds of people, makeup, art, lighting, music, all to get rid of Jesus Christ. All to get rid of Jesus Christ. Because the story is that the nun, in the first couple of episodes, here's the two guys. I'm going to talk about these guys too. The first two episodes is the nun has lost her faith, and then she kind of regains it at the end of the first episode, because Dracula fears the cross. And so she has found God, because she keeps saying, I don't hear God, I don't see God, I don't know. Well, read your Bible, for crying out loud. I don't, then, like, because he fears the cross, she realizes, I've found my faith. But in the third episode at the end, what the agent, who is her sort of reincarnated character, discovers, because they're in the modern world. Oh, here she is. She's like, they capture him. See, it's like an X-Files or Men in Black, where they capture Dracula, and he escapes and goes around doing stupid stuff. But she here now, confronting him in the finale. She's holding the cross here. She realizes, she learns or figures it out, that he doesn't fear, the sun doesn't actually hurt him. He doesn't fear the cross. When he drinks the blood, he absorbs the people's memories. So and their superstitions. So he is fearing the cross because of that, the blood that he's drunk. So he's not actually fearing God because God is real. So that's what she realizes. He doesn't fear the sun because the sun is real. He does all these things as if Dracula, because he of the habits of the blood in him, and what he really fears is death, and so he's a coward. And so she talks to him, you're a coward. And she literally, in this scene, I don't need this anymore. So she takes she tosses the cross away, right at the very end here. So these two guys who wrote this, Gaddis and Moffat, just draw us into this. Oh, there's this, I'm trying to grasp the Christian morals of good and evil, which we bring into the world. We bring into the world a clear cut. There's good and there's evil. There is evil. It is absolute. It is not based on point of view. It's absolute. Killing babies is absolutely evil. Those two guys that created this film, Gaddis and Moffat, believe in killing babies. I'm kind of 100% sure of that. I don't think they're pro-life at all. And so they're going to bring a movie where they want to get rid of Christ and Jesus, and they're taking Bram Stoker's Dracula, right? They're taking the most famous Christian version of a vampire story, which is the most widely accepted, the most incredible and intense and fascinating one, because vampires are kind of boring, otherwise they're cannibals basically. And he created these rules and these sets of things, and this guilt of the Dracula, that they of course put, want to make it atheist now and get rid of the cross and get rid of Jesus Christ. And he just fears death. So in the end, the glory of this show is of Dracula finally finding peace with death, drinking her blood at the end, because she has cancer now, and both of them dying together on the table, almost as if and they show shots of them like naked and making love, but in truth he's actually sucking her blood and drinking the cancer, and then he's going to die, and so he accepts death. So that to them is the beautiful thing about this. The beautiful thing to these guys, these atheists, is death, right? And that's what the Bible says. The Bible says they're going to worship death. So yeah, it's just another bait and switch. We're constantly getting bait and switches from these atheists and their paganism and their shows. And I'm just looking for something dumb to watch, fun to watch, entertaining. I love the nun, the gothic motif. Oh my God. I was so like, oh dear Lord, this is wonderful. I'm just enjoying her, even her doubts. I love hearing Christians talk about their doubts, and I love the sincerity of that, and then of course they got me, man. They bait and switched me. And of course all the nuns in the nunnery get killed by Dracula's wolves, because the wolves don't fear the cross. Sort of, that was sort of like, oh man, okay, we need to make the villain really villainous for a while. I just didn't know they were gonna, then of course I should have known better. They're gonna turn it on its head at the very end. Dracula doesn't really fear the cross. The sun doesn't harm him. He just does it because of the habits of the blood. So she doesn't need the cross. She tosses it away. He just fears death. You coward. That's, whew, man, what a bummer. There's no truth in this. There's no good versus evil. So I was so curious, like, who are these guys? Who are the dudes that made this? Like, what the heck? So it's like, oh, that's the guy that did Sherlock Holmes. That's right. I like this guy. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. This guy does Sherlock Holmes. Then I was like, oh, what's this guy again? Oh, he's got a spouse. Oh yeah. Who is she? I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is gay. I didn't know this guy was gay. Yes, I'm gonna I'm gonna criticize and make fun of you gays and trans or whoever. I don't care. Oh, you're homophobic. I don't care. I don't care anymore. You guys keep saying that. You keep saying I'm homophobic. Homosexuality is a sin. Trans is a sin. That's the Christian belief. So, and he hates Christ anyway. So if he's gonna make an entire production with millions and millions of dollars and get rid of the cross of a Bram Stoker Dracula's Christian story with a Christian motif and foundation, if he's going to take that and toss it away and tell us it's Dracula, because he could do any vampire he wants. He doesn't have to do Dracula. He could do a Cambodian vampire. He can do whatever the heck he wants, but he did specifically the Christian one, and then crapped all over it. Okay, so yes, I hate this guy now. I mean, I don't hate him because I love him because he's Jesus Christ. But I'm assuming he's going to hell. He's a sinner, this guy, and I'm like, oh, that's this guy. So I'm going to dog this guy and the other guy. The other guy, this guy, whatever his name is, but he's a famous guy. Stephen Moffat, he's the other dude. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's the guy that did Doctor Who. And so I love John De La Rosa's stuff. And Stephen Moffat lies to Doctor Who fans about Doctor's regeneration. Doctor Who attacks Christians in episode 3 by Stephen Moffat. They do the gay Doctor Who now that's totally bombing. And I know he was like, Stephen Moffat was a big whatever of the show. But he's promoting the gay trans, replacing sort of the classics with gay stuff now and atheist stuff now. That's what they're doing. And so we need to just fight back in the culture. We just need to rebuke it, call it out. I am just like, wow, this is, okay, wow, I keep, blah, blah, blah. So I want to talk a little bit about these two characters. I want to get that image of them. I kind of like that freaking image of them. Here's the thing I want to say about the one last thing I want to say. And I studied, I accidentally learned this through being curious about a couple of other two comedian actors, British, that did some shows. And I was just curious about where they come from, and so a lot of these people in England, they go to the Edinburgh Comedy Festival or whatever it is, the Edinburgh Festival. And what they do there is they all go there with their skits and sketches, and they find stages and they go and get their shows and they do these fun shows, and it's all like a couple of skits or whatever, and it's a competition, it's a festival. You get in, you got to come from some little theater group or whatever, and then you hustle, you sell yourself, you do a good show, and then you kind of get picked out of it to do little BBC shows, little comedy series or whatever. And that's how these individuals became successful. And that's how this guy, I think this guy became successful with his little troupe of people when he was younger. And so now they're sort of like, they get this big platform and big voice to do all these shows, and they're promoting, the homosexuality and the atheism and the modernism, and it's a shell. They're successful, whatever, more power to them. They get this world, they get this modern secular humanist world, pagan world. Have at it. But it's just like me as a person that was in the entertainment world, or enjoying entertainment, I have to sift through all these hustlers at the Edinburgh Festival who get all these shows and then get to promote their ideologies. And it's a hustle. And we Christians, are doing, or Christians, not me necessarily, but other Christians are doing shows, doing things, but they're all doing these sort of lame Christian shows where they're all, whatever. But I don't know what my point is in this, except I just like, oh man, these guys hustled at the Edinburgh for a festival, competing with other guys, mostly, some girls, I guess, but it's just this whole hustle to get your little TV deal, and they knew how to play the game. They knew where to go to get their little thing, and they knew where to go to get their little hustle and get and sell themselves in these sort of, there's kind of a random process to it. I know it's hard work, but it's hard work in the sense of young men hustling and being charlatans and selling themselves until they get it, or fail and become a plumber and carpenter or whatever. But these guys obviously made it, or especially this guy Matisse or whatever his name is, and Mark Matisse, Gatisse guy or whatever, Gatis or whatever, I don't know what his name is. But it just irks me. It irks me because of what he did, the bait and switch on Bram Stoker's Dracula, and then turning it into a modern retelling where the only thing about the modern retelling that to me was unique was getting rid of Jesus Christ. Well, it's not even unique. It's like, oh man, I should have known better. Anyway, so that's what we're up against. That's what we're constantly dealing with. And me late to this game of even fighting the culture war because I just didn't think we had to. I'm just making these little videos to let you all know that we do got to fight this culture war. I love the culture, or I used to love it. I love the craftsmanship and the hard work and the production that goes into this. He did a great performance and great directing. So but the ideology that they have, the bait and switch and the beyond their craftsmanship is really blasphemous. It's annoying. It's not, Bram Stoker is not sacred to me, but having a story where Jesus Christ and the cross are in it, and then turning and then disregarding that and getting rid of, or specifically attacking it is to me not sacrilegious, but I'm gonna fight against it. I'm gonna push against it and call it out and rebuke it, and hope that you all, as young Christian filmmakers, will make Christian films. Make Bram Stoker, as a Christian, you should make the Bram Stoker's Dracula, and make it more authentic to the actual story that Bram Stoker wrote, and is a classic and will always be a classic. And then this will be, this will just be put on Netflix and forgotten about. But man, what a bummer, They did that at the end. They just did that little bait and switch right at the very end like that. And I enjoy. There was one scene in the modern area where he comes into a poor lady's apartment or house, and it just looked like and he was just saying how much wealth was in there. Like, it was so wealthy, it was like a sort of a cluttered little trashy little place, not trashy, but cluttered. And he just was like, this is amazing. Like a king would live here and never leave. And so that was cool. They got these moments of funniness and enjoyment, which anyone can. But the whole disregard for Christ, or purposely erasing Christ, and then the whole gladiator type sadism that goes on in these pagan film shows and stuff is, yeah. We gotta call it out. All right. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I just need to enjoy myself, relax. Okay. In the name of the Lord. No. In the game of life. In the name of the Lord, yes. In the game of life, roll holy dice.